at some point in 1860, we have Abraham Lincoln, we have Stephen Douglas, we have John Breckinridge, and we have John Bell, all nominated by their parties. At what point in the year did we have these finalists, and how did the campaign shape up after that?
So all of these folks are nominated by June, by the end of June, and we have them as candidates. Mostly they are not campaigning. Stephen Douglas actually ends up campaigning. It's very unusual. This is sort of out of the norm that he goes to the South to campaign. And some folks look down on him because as part of sort of the standard of American respectability politics, you do not campaign for yourself, but Douglas does a little bit of this. And mostly what happens is that other people campaign for you. And one of the places this happens is through newspapers. As I mentioned, newspaper editors and newspaper writers were politicians in this period, and newspapers were political. They were openly political. They were expected to be political. Our norms today about what is sort of fair or biased or whatever is sort of the standard for what journalism should look like is just not something that existed in the 19th century. People didn't expect newspapers to work that way. Newspapers had a very particular way of operating where they would be connected 9 times out of 10 to a particular candidate. So there were Lincoln papers, there were Douglas papers, there were Breckinridge papers, and there were Bell papers. And many of these papers, especially in small towns around the country, were created for this campaign. And they would run all kinds of articles promoting their candidates, trying to get ready for the campaign. They would be really important when it came to the actual election itself, because they would also print the tickets that people would bring to the voting booth. But in the meantime, they're going to get ready by promoting their candidates, printing large portions of the campaign literature that is going to be produced during this period. You're also going to have lots of rallies, public rallies. Lincoln had a large group of supporters known as the Wide Awakes, which was sort of a pseudo-military group of supporters who would get together at sort of torchlight parades and walk around supporting Lincoln. And there were huge gatherings of these pseudo-military groups in big cities around the country, Philadelphia and New York and Boston and Cleveland, really supporting Lincoln. You had these sort of public displays. Women would get involved in these displays. Women were very involved in politics in this period. You also had women newspaper editors who would produce this kind of campaign literature. You would have balls and other parties to sort of promote the candidates. And so people are very involved in the campaign. American politics was a very, very intensive process in this period. Not just voting, but also just conversation and constant inundation of politics, because people believed these elections were a matter of life and death for the future of the nation.